Warning: the following podcast show that you're about to listen to will include explicit language and content in which you, the members of the audience, may find offensive. Audience discretion is advised.
Welcome to another episode of the Hoang Podcast Experience.
Yeah, boy.
Where anything and everything is a subject matter on the show, and no subject matter is ever taboo.
Damn, that's what's up, my G.
And now, your host with the most, Mr. Hoang. Bro, am I getting paid for this?
Yo, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? How are you? Coming at you live from the beta room of the Asian Sensation Studios in the greater Washington DC Metropolitan Area. It is your host with your most, the guy, the man himself, Kim Hoang, the Asian Sensation. And I'm here again in the booth, doing it up for another episode. It is great to be here. I didn't think for a while that I was going to be used to the environment of being in our beta room while our media room is kind of getting a little bit of a home improvement. But I'm actually liking it. Like I said before in a previous episode, we took the basic stuff that we needed. We took a little bit of our new recording system. We took that equipment. We got it in here. We are utilizing our new Dell laptop. That's actually here, along with just, maybe like my microphone, which is the Shure MV7 with its stand, and even like another stand for my iPhone. So it's really cool. I have everything and anything that I need here. It is great. I can't wait for our multimedia room to actually be back into the use again. But until further notice, I feel pretty good just recording here, and it's awesome. And I got to thank Hector for, kind of making it happen and making sure that we got what we needed and everything. Because if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't be able to coordinate the way that, this whole thing needed to be. And it's just crazy how it all, came to be, but here we are, you know what I mean? If you heard a little bit of a noise just a second ago, I really do apologize. The desk that I'm working on right now, that I'm sitting on in the booth, I just kind of wanted to move it a little bit, but yeah, that's that type of noise. Overall, I want to say that I'm feeling pretty good, and I'm feeling, like in a good place. Lately, I have been incorporating some easy exercises. I think some easy exercises that are, good for me, that is very beneficial to me, and, not as taxing. I started working out by doing a little bit more of walking. I've been walking around my neighborhood, and I have been walking around the local track and field area of the local high school near the Asian Sensation Studios. And it's been good. It's been really good. When I first started back, I was walking the neighborhood. I ended up walking about 4.3 miles at a time frame of 2 hours. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, man, in 2 hours, I could definitely walk more than 4 miles and such. But, I just wanted to take my time. I felt like, it was not a competition. Not a competition at all. I just wanted to actually walk around, enjoy the environment and my surroundings. Got a chance to look at some really cool looking cars that just drove by. And I was just like, oh, I was in awe, like a new Jeep Wrangler, and those new Jeeps. I forgot the model of it, but basically it looks kind of like a Hummer, and then there's a hybrid of a Jeep that kind of is in a body of a truck. So I was just in all of that. I was just oh, and then a Mercedes-Benz coming here, a BMW coming through there. It's car paradise. So that was kind of cool. When I was walking the high school track and field area, I did about 12 laps, which equaled out to 3 miles and a little bit of change. And I got that done in about an hour and a half, so that was pretty solid. And then last night, I actually walked 4.4 miles at 2 hours and 2 minutes. So it wasn't bad. I'm starting to get like a little bit of routine, but then I wanted to kind of spice it up. So yesterday, before I got a chance to do my walking, I was doing a little bit of some sparring because I have a little bit of it's like a freestanding punching bag that looks like a human being from the Century Martial Arts Company. And their product is called the Century Bob, where you hit your target, the whole thing looks like a human being. It has a face and a torso and everything, and you can strike at it. And I was hitting at it for like maybe a good one round. I didn't want to test too much, but I wanted to see if I could last like maybe a whole round. I did okay. I thought that I could have done better, but for my first real attempt at just like hitting it, bop, 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 it felt good. It felt good. So, I'm definitely going to try to do a lot of things, and in terms of like physical fitness and body awareness and wellness, and just making sure that everything works on point. Because it's true what they say, when we're young, we don't really think a lot about our health because we're young and we're invincible and we have the superpower. But when you get older, man, it definitely shows. Unless you actually work out frequently and consistently, you're going to be fine. But if you don't, then it's starting to show. And my body started to show a lot, and my health started to show a lot. So I'm definitely trying to make a lot of strides here for improvement and everything like that. So if anything that I'm doing recently right now is an indication of, how serious I am, or, how well I want to be, well, there you go. But yeah, lots to cover today. I am really, really excited for many reasons. This episode is going to be a fun one. One part of the subject matter we will go back to, but we're not going to cover that at this moment in time, but we're going to cover this. Lately I've been trying to reach out to a lot of people that I'm very interested in interviewing on the Kim Hoang podcast experience, because I think it's just time to really, up the ante a little bit. I want to invite guests. I want to talk to them. I want to get to know them. I want to get to know what they're famous for, their creative medium, if they have one. You know what I mean? Because it's important. It's really important. I've reached out to a lot of people. Some people that you already know that I've mentioned throughout previous episodes, like this singer from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Her name is Santana. Very talented person and very beautiful and intelligent, well-spoken. She has great energy, a positive vibe. And, when I hear these things and see these things, I automatically go like, wow, this reminds me of somebody that I could definitely had easily hung out with way back in the day, or I might have grown up with her, for many, many years and just didn't realize it. So yeah, we're trying to get her on the show. She has agreed. We just need to find a solid time frame to make it happen. Another Brazilian singer and TikTok personality by the name of Himi. She is a singer and she has a beautiful talent. Already has a couple of singles out on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. I'm sorry, not Apple Podcasts, Apple Music. And the one thing I like about her is that she just has a really cool style of her own. And I have interacted with her. She seems pretty cool. I have mentioned it to her a couple of times, but I'm not sure if we're there yet. I know we're in negotiations and we're making it happen. So I'm not going to give up on that. I think that Himi and I could really make a great podcast episode. I think that would be amazing. Another person, she's also a singer, and she's also a TikTok personality. coming from Moscow, Russia, is I think her name is Venta Lenta or something like that. She's really, really cool. Definitely has a really good vibe about her as well. Her talent is amazing. She's got a couple of singles out, and she's really doing her thing, especially in the Euro circuit and in the Russian circuit. It's awesome. I do want to talk to her, and I do really want to interview her, but we don't know what's going on with that as of yet. I know that I've expressed interest, but I feel like, I feel like we really need to talk more to her and to really let her know how serious we are about that. And another person who I'm really thinking about wanting to interview is a very beautiful girl from outside of London, England, who's very tall. Now, according to what she has said on a previous interview, she says that she's 6'7", but according to her social medias, she's 6'9". So I'm going to say that she's about 6'8", just to kind of play the measure. But she's very tall. From outside of London, England, she goes by the moniker by the name of Tall Girl Katie. And I know that she said that she would be interested in doing it at some point. I know that I have extended the invitation, but we'll see what happens. I think that one would be a real good one, just because of the fact that she is a great social media personality. She's got a great story, dealing with the challenges of being, with the gift of height. You know what I mean? She's at that height. She's like easily like a small forward or a power forward of the NBA playing basketball. But that's all I have to say. But when you see her content and everything, you just look at her and you're just like, wow, absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing. She's doing her thing. God bless her. But the big one, and this is a huge announcement that I'm about to drop, is that recently I have reached out to an ex-WWE wrestler, and I wanted to actually let him know that I was interested in interviewing him. Now, let me tell you about this person. This gentleman is by the name of Maven Huffman. Now, Maven, for those that know about pro wrestling and everything, especially with the WWE, he was the winner of the very first season of WWE's Tough Enough. For 5 years, he wrestled for the WWE. He has a very successful YouTube channel. And he is going to be one of the stars of the upcoming movie Days of Sodom, basically, which is a fan film based from The Crow. And I'm really excited about maybe having an opportunity if this happens. Now, I've been a fan of Maven's for quite some time, and I really liked him. I thought that he had a lot of promise. He definitely was one of my top 3 choices to win the WWE Tough Enough Season 1. I had him. I had this guy named Greg, who unfortunately dropped out of the competition due to injury. And I had Josh Matthews. Those were my top 3 that I thought that were going to make it. At least one of them was going to make it. And I'm glad it was actually Maven, because when I saw him compete and I saw him on the series, I was like, this guy really wants it. He's really being consistent. He's working hard. You can just tell that he has the eye of the tiger. You know what I mean? Now, in the WWE, I thought he had a good career. I think that he was doing very well. I just felt like the WWE didn't really utilize him to the full potential that he could have been. So that's one of the reasons, if anything, that, he had, a really good steam going, and then it just kind of unfortunately fizzled. And, I'm just glad to see that Maven is actually doing very well outside of professional wrestling now. Just doing TikTok, or not TikTok. He's doing YouTube. He's doing all these things where he's going on different types of interviews with different type of podcast shows. And he seems to be doing pretty well for himself. Last time I saw him, he was on the show, the WWE's The Bump, which is an online show. And I think he said something about like he was working in the office as like a broker or something like that. I'm not really quite sure, but he seemed to be doing very well for himself, and it's awesome. And I looked at the situation and I just thought, wouldn't it be cool if we could have Maven Huffman here on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience show? Because number one, when I look at him and, I see what he does and everything and his mannerisms, he seems to be a very nice guy. And he seems to be very laid back, and, he just doesn't really have a care in the world in a sense. Like, he doesn't let the negativity get to him and so forth. And he has such a happy and positive disposition. And I look at him, I'm just like, man, that's the dude that I would love to talk to. That would be like that would kind of be like talking to a friend that, I grew up with that I haven't seen in a long time. And then we're just kind of catching up again. So I think it really would be cool. So to me, I just felt like, I have to reach out to him. I have to do something. And I dropped the... I literally dropped the rock in the pond. I took the initiative and I reached out to him, dropped him a private message on his Instagram, and I said, "Hey, Maven, my name is Kim. I'm from Washington DC. I have a podcast show called the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. Longtime fan. I'm really interested in interviewing you because I think that you have a great story." And you have all these creative mediums. You had a heck of a wrestling career. And I think that you have an interesting story to tell. And, I would really love an opportunity to, proverbially sit down with you and just have a good old fashioned chat and just, and shoot the stuff. And it would be amazing. And plus, we can talk about a lot of things about what you did in the ring, out of the ring, what life is like now, your YouTube channel. And soon, you're going to be in a movie of Days of Sodom, a Crow fan film, which is amazing. And for those that don't know that film, it's locally shot in the DC, Maryland, and Northern Virginia area. Cody Falk, a local actor, is the star of that movie. Shout outs to Cody, and maybe we can get Cody on the show. That would definitely be awesome. And yeah, I would really love to talk to Maven, if for anything, I think it really would just be a really cool dynamic to have a guest that, is someone that's a little bit different more than the person that I usually would interview, because I've interviewed martial artists. I have interviewed some actors. I even interviewed just people of creativity in general. And it would be great to kind of like separate from, the pack and just kind of diversify into, this is the person that I want to interview, a professional wrestler, an ex-professional wrestler that wrestled for the big time. WWE, that's a big company, man. That is a huge company. When people think about pro wrestling, 9 times out of 10, they're going to say the WWE, because that's pretty much what we grew up with. I mean, before, like old school people like myself, we knew it as the WWF back then, the World Wrestling Federation. But then, when they had that little lawsuit against the World Wildlife Federation, the original WWF, they had to change it to the World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE. And, being a fan of wrestling and for so long, you just get hooked on it. You remember a lot of great wrestlers and a lot of great personalities. And I definitely remember Maven. I thought that he was a person that had a lot of great personality, just a good style about him. Just unfortunately a guy that unfortunately I believe didn't get utilized correctly and should have gotten more of a push in my opinion, because I think Maven definitely had what it took. And I think that he definitely could have been championship material if he was used in the right way. But I mean, we'll never know. My message to Maven is this, and I know that I know it's a long shot, but I'm going to say it anyways. And I just want to say, Maven, like I said before, I'm a fan of your work. I am a fan of yours, and I remember you from the WWE days, from WWE Tough Enough Season 1. What you were then to what you are now, I'm still a big supporter of you, and it's an amazing thing just to kind of see you, navigate life and do your thing. And I think that you have a great story to tell, and I think it would be amazing if we could have you on the show. I know it's a long shot, but if you could, please let me know, and please at least give it some consideration. Again, we think that you have a great story that we would like to share with the world. If you say yes, obviously it would be a tremendous honor to have you here and, just to go ahead and talk to you. If not, I understand you're a busy guy. You probably have a lot of things on your plate, and the thought of just going to a podcast that you never heard about and, talk to a guy that you don't know and so forth, it seems a little far-fetched, and I get that. But I'm hoping and I'm praying to the podcast gods. Yes, there are the podcast gods. I'm praying to the podcast gods that, I will get the blessing to speak to you, to the man, Maven Huffman, and, hopefully, get this opportunity going. We don't really know what's going to happen, so only time will tell. But, Maven, if you can let me know, I definitely would appreciate it. But again, I would love for you to be on our show, on the Kim Hoang podcast experience. You would definitely be one of the biggest names by far, in terms of, guest wise. We've interviewed a couple of great people and talented people, but you'd be like, up there in terms of like big name, celebrity, big personality, that sort of thing. And I think it'd be a great opportunity for the both of us, so hopefully, I'm going to knock on wood that it's going to work out. I don't know if it will or not, but I'm hoping. And I'm hoping that, with all the other people that I mentioned before, Maven, about who I'm interested in interviewing, I hope that it will happen and we could make it happen. I really, again, I want to diversify, man. I really want to interview people. I want to talk to people. I want to get to know them. I want to know about their creative medium and really want to know about, what they're all about, and how they got there. Why did they chose this creative medium and the path that they're taking, and what inspires them to keep going with it, or, whatever, because it's a story. It's a story to tell. It's a story that, has to be told. And it's a story that I feel like, man, if you can just share it with the world and people hear about it, they may learn something, and they may apply it as a lesson to be learned somewhere, and they just might go, wow, we did not know this person existed. That's awesome that we got to know this person. And yeah, I think I'm excited. I'm really excited for the opportunity. Now, again, it's not set in stone. It's not like, guaranteed that I'm going to get Maven on here, but I just want to say that I took the initiative, to contact them. I took the leap of faith and took the first step. Whatever happens at this point, I don't know. But I hope that we can maybe interview him, that we can get Maven on and we can, make this happen. So again, Knock on wood. Knock on wood. But yeah, let me go ahead and take a little bit of a break. We will come back to the Kim Hoang podcast experience. And when we do, we are going to revisit a subject matter that we talked about recently. We're going to add more to it. And we're going to, we're going to go ahead and be a little bit more objective with it. So, the things that you do as being a podcaster, I mean, it's all for you guys. You know what I mean? But stay tuned, because the Kim Hoang podcast experience will be coming back in full force. Don't go anywhere, because we will make our return. All right? We'll see you guys in a bit. Ever wanted to make a podcast but didn't know how to do it or where to go? Does the idea of pursuing podcasting sounds great, but you're afraid of the expenses that you have to invest in? Then look no further than Spotify for Podcasters. They have the tools that you need to create the perfect podcast episode that you want, whether if you want to create it in an audio and or video podcasting form. To those that already podcast, Spotify for Podcasters can help you upload your already completed audio/video podcasts to all of the podcasting platforms that you have a membership to. And the best part is that this is 100% free. No hidden costs, no monthly fees, because you don't have to give them your credit card information, and because Spotify for Podcasters want to help by giving back to everybody. So check them out at podcasters.spotify.com and download their app for free on the Google Play Store and or the Apple App Store. Spotify for Podcasters.
And now, back to the Kim Hoang podcast experience with your host, Kim Hoang.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, hello. Welcome back to the Kim Hoang podcast experience. I hope that you enjoyed the little intermission that we had. It was good. It was really good. And, this next segment, I'm basically bringing it back. It was a subject matter that I talked about previously, prior to an episode. I want to say maybe one episode ago, maybe two. But I was actually talking about the return of the legendary concert event that usually happens over in the Washington DC area, known as the HFSTival. Basically, once again, it is a music concert event or a festival that happens every year. And it's in the Washington, D.C. area, sometimes in Baltimore, sometimes in Northern Virginia. And they would have all these great bands that would play in one day. Sometimes it could have been two, but usually one day. There would be a little bit of a side stage, a local stage, and then there would be a tent for all the people that like electronica music and trance and and EDM and all that stuff. And they recently made an announcement a few days ago that it would be coming back this year in 2024 on Saturday, September the 21st, over at the Nationals Park, where the Washington Nationals baseball team play in Washington, D.C. Since that time, we actually found out a little bit of some, more additional information, which is good. We got the following. The bands that will actually be playing the HFSTival as of right now, as we are actually recording this episode as we speak, are the following: Lit, Filter, Tonic, Violent Femmes, Girl Talk, Jimmy Eat World, Garbage, Bush, Incubus, Death Cab for Cutie, the Postal Service. And they say that it's for one day, one stage. I will say this. It's really good that we get more information that, for the inquiries that we did have. Although when this information came out, along with the information about the prices, a lot of people got upset. Let me explain. Excuse me. Now, the cost, according to impconcerts.com/HFFestival, which is one of the websites of the HFFestival concert event, $150 gets you a stadium seating, so that, basically, where the seats are, where you sit down to see the Nats play. Yeah, that's $150. Now, $250 gets you a reserved seat, so it's kind of near a small pit area. Now, if you want to be right there in the action where the pit is at, or behind the pit, you will have to pay a big sum of $450. That's what they call the VIP package. Now, guys, I do get that. As a person that has been to the HF Festival, I remember when prices were like, $20 to $25. You know what I mean? And it was general admission. And that meant you can go anywhere that you wanted to go. If you wanted to go ahead and sit down on the stadium seat and just kind of chill, you were more than welcome to do so. If you wanted to be right there on the action on the field, as long as you can make your way down over there to the field, have at it. $20 to $25, that's what you got. Not bad, right? Yeah, at least in, the days of that, it's not bad. Later on, it was like, okay, we're going to have to raise the price a little bit. So the last HF Festival that I went to, and I remember it because that was like, definitely the one that I went to that I remember it was a good time and everything. But I do remember saying like, wow, it was like raised up a couple more dollars. It was like $40. Still not bad. Still wasn't bad. It was reasonable. It was a reasonable amount of cash. But now that you're asking for, $150 minimal, all the way to $450 for a VIP package, that is crazy. That is really, to some people, maybe you can get that much money and you're afforded that luxury. But for some other people, that's a ludicrous price because, we're just regular average Joes just trying to, make our money and not spend so much of it. Matter of fact, I got a couple of quotes here, and I'm not going to name their names because I didn't get any permission to actually, say their name. So I'm just going to say what they said. One person said, using the HF Festival name was misguided from the beginning. You can't deliver a lineup worthy of that name in 2024. The whole model has changed. For what it is, it's a good lineup at a fair price for the modern era. But it's not the HF Festival. Fair. That's very fair. I do agree that the lineup is pretty cool. It definitely has a little bit of nostalgia. You know what I mean? And it's, at least for people of the Generation X era, we grew up listening to most of those bands. You know what I mean? There wasn't a day that we couldn't catch them on HFS on the radio station, or formerly known as WHFS 99.1 FM, or on MTV. So it's a little bit, I definitely agree with that. That statement. I think that's a very good statement. I think it definitely hit the bullseye right on the first throw. So I definitely get that. Another person said, I'm sorry, but that's not HF Festival, especially not with that $250 price tag. Nice try. The most expensive HF Festival ticket was $40, including 2010 and 2011 until today. Shame. This is not a return. This is mediocre. Overpriced show with the name HF Festival slapped onto it. Wow, shots fired there, but that person definitely was telling the truth. Again, we're going back to the pricing of, it
It was $40 back in the day, but even before that, it was a little bit more less expensive. But if you're willing to pay that much, it's a no-go. It's a no-go. This person in particular thinks that the lineup is not even worth it. And the fact that you threw an event and then threw the label of HF Festival is a little bit of a slap to the face. Another person wrote, and this one is an interesting perspective. Touring/travel is significantly more expensive. So I can see maybe charging $80 to $100, but you are also getting significantly less for your ticket as well. A single stage. What else? Whereas before you had multiple stages, a tent with electronic music, vendors, games, and etc. The system is broken, or this is just a cash grab. Maybe both. Excellent. That's an excellent point right there. Again, we're going to the fact that you're acknowledging there's one stage. Before, there was multiple stages. You had a local stage, and you had another type of stage, and then again, you had a tent playing, electronical music, techno, and stuff that, all those kids, raving kids, would just go ahead and just listen to and be like, yeah, I'm dancing with glow sticks and you know what I mean? So I definitely get that. That's a very good point. Very, very good point. And I get that. I really, 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 really get that. What it boils down to, ladies and gentlemen, is this. A lot of people don't agree with the price. I get that. I really do get that. Money doesn't grow on trees, and it's not like we can literally get $100 instantly with the snap of our fingers. It's literally impossible. Not happening. Not happening. You don't have that much more of diversity in terms of like different types of musical acts that would perform on other types of like stages or venues or whatever that made the HF Festival. Some people believe that because of these, that there's only one stage, not the local stage and like a side stage, and because of the fact that you're not getting like, different type of vendors and games and all that stuff and everything, that it is not a festival. It's just a music event, but it's not a festival. And they also believe that the HF Festival, because they didn't really announce it, meaning that HFS came back on the radio airwaves and actually made an official announcement, they felt like, it's a little bit cheated. Some people actually believe that, again, the lineup isn't worth it. I believe somebody, and I'm looking for the information right now because I was actually looking at this a little bit earlier. Somebody actually said, and I quote, "Nope, I am disgusted. I can go see Metallica for the same rate or even cheaper." Another person actually said that it's only one day and one stage, not a festival. I get that. One person also said, easy answer, no. I consider taking a road trip to be there, but the lineup is meh and the tickets are way overpriced. And it is also an insult. Well, one thing I will say about the public in general when it comes to the HF Festival, they don't hold back on their opinions. They really don't. They will let you know exactly what's on their mind and, how they feel about it. I think a lot of people feel, and that's true, that, because I'm kind of in there, that if it was a little bit cheaper, maybe it might be worth it going, you know what I mean? And that's fine. But I just can't really justify, for me personally, wanting to go willingly, Now, there are some pros, not a lot. I mean, as stated before, on the first quote said that for what it is, it's a good lineup at a fair price for the modern era. Yeah, I mean, I do agree that it is a good lineup. Again, 90s to 2000s bands, a lot of nostalgia there. Anybody who was a Generation Xer, we grew up listening to these bands, and it was good. It was really good. Some may say and debate that the prices, depending on how you look at it, might actually not be so bad, because if you kind of divide the price versus, 12 acts here listed, it's kind of cheap, in a sense, where it's like, that's like 50 or 60 some dollars per band. You know what I mean? Another good pro is that we don't know that this is all the bands that are going to be performing. It's been known that HFSTival would hold out and there would be like another band and another band and another band. You know what I mean? So I think this is really cool for what it's listed, but I feel like there's going to be some more bands involved in this. At least that's just my opinion. I don't know if that's going to be a true fact. For all I know, people might say that, Kim, you're actually drunk and you don't have any idea what you're talking about, or you're really off your rocker. Either way, hey, I'm gonna stick by my my thought here, and so forth. We'll see. I think that there might be some more bands that that have not been mentioned yet that might actually be added on to the HFSTival 2024. So we'll see. I mean, it really all depends. I just hope, honestly, and this is just a hope, that people, that they're, let me rephrase it. I hope that the people's message about the HFSTival and their reservations will actually reach out and make people believe who actually put this event together and decided to make the proper decisions on, the price point of what we should charge people. I just hope that they understand and they hear it. And I hope that they go, oh crap, we kind of made a mistake on that. Why don't we lower it down to, at the very most, $50 a ticket? And you can go general admission anywhere. You know what I mean? I think that would be fair. I think that would be more than fair. But I don't know if there's anybody that's willingly to spend, let's say, $450 for a VIP package. Now, I mean, in all in good, and by definition, the VIP package is probably the best thing that you can get, and you have a lot of fringe benefits. Now, when they said it was a VIP package for $450, unfortunately, at this moment in time, or unless I didn't see it, they said that, they have a lot of good fringe benefits. What those benefits are is yet to be seen, because it really was not, really described to us exactly, the perk, or, the reward, or anything of that sort. It was just more like, well, there you go, kid. $450. Take it or leave it. I'm like, holy guacamole. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Matter of fact, what we're doing right now is that we are going to impconcerts.com/HFSTival right now. And we are going to go ahead and we're going to check out what's going on here. Now, it says that you can request for the ticket right now. So if you get requested, that's good. That means you get picked and everything, and you have the opportunity to go ahead and get the said ticket. If there was a reason why I would love to go, is because, once again, the bands that are listed are very nostalgic to me. And, I love Lit. I love Filter. I love Tonic. Violent Femmes, I grew up listening to them. That they were like, some band that a lot of people had listened to, back in the day. Never heard of Girl Talk, so I can't really say anything. Jimmy Eat World, love Jimmy Eat World. Love Jimmy Eat World. Garbage, love Garbage. Garbage was amazing. Bush, yeah. I mean, Gavin Rossdale, with songs like Machine Head and Glycerine, and then Swallowed was a good one. Incubus, I'm a big fan of. That's already my reason why I would want to go, because I'm an Incubus fan. I haven't really seen them in quite some time, so for me to actually go ahead and see them would be amazing. For that price, though, I really have to think about that. I really, really have to think about. I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where, like, it's just crazy. It's just crazy of a situation. Again, a lot of people are using the term a cash grab. So, yeah, I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. I just hope, honestly, that we are able to, get something here. That we're going to get maybe like a cheaper price. People might realize that they're making a mistake, and they'll go back to, a lower price point. What are the chances of that? I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a good chance, but there's always a chance. You know what I mean? The chances of the prices going down is like, and I hate to say it like this, as much as like you might be able to see a unicorn in the sky clearly and identify it, that's how much of a shot that you have of HFSTival 2024 dropping the price point. That's all I'm saying. So, not much I have to say about that. It is what it is. I'm glad for what it's worth that the HFSTival is coming back, although there are some people that really dropped their opinions and didn't hold back. And I, for one, don't blame them. I feel like if you have an opinion, feel free to spit it out. You know what I mean? You feel what you feel. They're nobody else's feelings but yours. And that's the bottom line. So, we're going to go ahead, take 5, take a break. We're going to come right back. And we're going to go ahead right into my favorite segment, the Q&A session, question and answer forum. Really excited about that. What's going to happen? I have no idea. But guys, stay tuned. Just go ahead and do your thing. We'll come right back, and we'll get right back into it here on the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. See you in a bit. In life, we all want to have great health and excellent physical fitness. However, it's never given, only earned. That said, if you want to go to a gym that will help you to get there, then look no further than Kicked Up Fitness at National Business Parkway in Annapolis Junction, Maryland. Their mission at Kicked Up is to provide the ultimate functioning training facility that focuses solely on your success, with a diverse team that's highly qualified and dedicated to taking your fitness goals to the next level. Kicked Up also offers a variety of group classes and personal training programs that provide something for everyone, regardless of your fitness level. They believe in working hard, achieving results, all while having fun. So come visit their facility in person, which is located at 114 National Business Parkway, Suite 100 in Annapolis Junction, Maryland, 20701. Now, if you see my friend Sean Queen, who's the owner of Kicked Up, tell him that Benny Chow of Miscalculated sent you, and he'll hook you up with a complimentary 7-day pass just to try it out. Need more info? Give him a call. 410-888-9066. Email them at kufitnessnbp@gmail.com or visit them at their website at www.kufitnessnbp.com. Kicked Up Fitness. Never given,
only earned.
And now, back to the Kim Huang Podcast Experience with your host, Kim Huang.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Kim Huang Podcast Experience. And we've had a great time creating a great episode. Lots of fun, lots of things that we talked about today. So in that respect, I'm just feeling very, very happy right now. Like, I just feel like we definitely accomplished something very good. We created something amazing. But all things come to those that, that wait. And all good things come to an end. Right now, at this very moment, we are about to do dun 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 dun. The world famous Q&A forum, which is once again question and answer. You ask the questions, and I answer them. And again, there are ways to go ahead and send your question in if you want to actually participate in the Q&A forum. You can actually email me at the Kim Huang Podcast Experience at gmail.com by sending me your question where the subject matter is Q&A. You can actually go ahead and tweet me at Twitter, now known as X. And you can follow me at TKHPC Experience, all in one word, lowercase letters. Or if you happen to be a person that actually has Spotify and you actually want to send a question that way, go to our podcasting show right there on Spotify. You'll be able to see a section where you can actually go ahead and ask us a question and send us a question that way. Now, if you wanted to make it confidential where nobody else can see the question but you and I, just mark it as confidential. Put the settings on confidential. So we are ready to go. Real quick, though, guys. During this segment, you might hear a couple of noises and some banging, something like that. That's because, once again, like I said, our multimedia room is actually getting a little bit of, I wouldn't say repairs, but it's definitely getting an improvement, an upgrade. So there's people around the clock just kind of helping out, making it work, and just improving it to be better so that we can actually move out. And I mean move back out of the beta room and go back over to our multimedia room. So if you hear anything of construction noises and stuff like that, I do apologize. That's out of our control. That's something that we can't do. But what we can do now is get to this Q&A because I'm excited about it. So without any further delay, the Q&A session has now started and we are ready to go. So let's get it popping, guys. And I got the questions that were emailed to me earlier by Hector. So here we go. And it's actually pretty lovely because he emailed it and he actually sent the attachment, which is an MS Word document, which, I would have been fine if he just wrote the questions on the email. But, hey, I'm not mad at it. It's not like, if I didn't have MS Word or MS Office in general, I would kind of be in trouble. But because I have MS Office, obviously I have MS Word, it doesn't bother me. So here we go. Question number 1. Kim, can you use a gaming PC computer as a regular everyday computer? Rebecca from Arlington, Texas. Oh, okay. So you're actually not that far from Dallas, if I remember correctly. And to answer your question, absolutely. A gaming PC is built so that it can handle all the intense gaming situations, because a lot of PC gamers are basically gaming on that thing around the clock. And the computer itself demands a lot because it overheats because of what it needs to do. So technically speaking, there's a lot of things in there where it's a lot of hoses and coolants and stuff like that kind of cools the mainframe and the inside of the computer. Now, I know that's a lot of technical work and a lot of technical thing to understand, but it's cool. That being said, yes, you can use a gaming computer as a regular computer. It's actually built more for that as well, so it can definitely handle that load. I mean, if it can handle a gaming situation where, the gamers game on it 24 hours a day, it definitely can handle regular everyday use of a computer. And it's good because if you open a lot of like programs and multitask and so forth, it does take a lot out of the computer. So having a gaming computer cool everything down internally, it'll help out with your everyday needs, and you don't have to worry about, the system overheating or going slow or whatever. You're going to be fine. So yes, if you have a gaming computer and you want to use it as a regular computer, like for, work purposes, or just working on stuff on MS Office, or just doing like graphic design or whatever, have at it, go for it. That's, computers are definitely there to help us out. And you just have an advantage because you potentially have a gaming PC that can definitely handle all of those situations. So there you go. Question number 2. I have a fashion sense question. Do you yourself prefer wearing hoop earrings or stud earrings? Chase from Irvine, California. Well, for me personally, Chase, I like studs. The type that, either like it looks like a diamond earring, or just something, like traditional, like a stud ball, or like maybe like a stud with like a little stone on it. You know what I mean? That's just me. I think it works a little bit better. I have been known to switch it up for hoops. You know what I mean? I have 2 holes on my left ear and 2 holes on my right ear. So sometimes I like to wear all 4. Sometimes I like to do 2 in 1. Sometimes I just like to wear, the 1 in 1, or just the 1 on my left ear. So, but honestly, it really just depends on your situation, like what you feel. I mean, what I do is irrelevant. So if you have earrings and you want to go ahead and wear them, feel free. If you want to wear studs, that's totally cool. If you want to wear hoops, that's cool too. It's all about what you feel and, how comfortable you feel, I mean, if you feel comfortable in your skin to wear hoops, awesome. If you rather wear studs, that's okay too. I mean, no judgment. And if you just want to stop wearing them and just kind of let it be, again, no judgment, all good. So there you go. Question number 3. Besides Century Martial Arts, is there another martial arts company that you would recommend to buy from them when it comes to martial arts training equipment and or etc.? Jacinda from Richmond, Virginia. Jacinda, very good question. And yes, I would recommend another martial arts company for that. If Century is, not your thing for whatever reason it may be. Again, not, dissing Century Martial Arts, because I love Century and they have done great things for the martial art community. And I think for what they have, it's actually pretty good. Everything from the uniforms to the weapons to all the training equipment, etc., etc. However, if you want to go with another route, I would suggest Asian World of Martial Arts, based out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. They've been at it for quite a while too, and I think they've been a company since 1972, I believe, and they're really amazing. They're really awesome. I know right now that if you do order stuff online, you can actually take advantage of their sale. They have a monthly sale, and they have a code where you can actually go over and save up to 50% off of like whatever it is that you're ordering. So imagine that. That's just a great deal. Like, I know for me, I like to, make my money work for me. So if I need like any type of training equipment, like, weapons or punching bags or anything of that sort, that's what I would like to use as an alternate. So yeah, that's definitely cool. Right now, and you can go to their website, awma.com. The flash sale is 50% off. It applies to all the retail orders, no wholesale. And And if you want to go ahead and get their stuff for a cheaper price, you can definitely do that, and it's amazing. I think it's going to be a great sale, and I do believe that you have to enter in a code. Now, what the code is, I'm not 100% sure. Let me see if I can access that real quick, because I think that that's definitely something worth investigating. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I'm really trying to look up these information for you guys, because I think it's very important that you guys really know what that information is. I'm going to go over real quick over to their Facebook, and I'm going to see what we can figure out here. Normally, they do have some stuff here that, they... Okay, here we go. So if you enter the promo code June50, you save 50% off on all of your essential martial arts gear and apparel, and free shipping. And now this is according to Asian World Martial Arts' site on their Facebook. So there you go. I think, again, great deal, good company. I've worked with them before many a times. I like their stuff. It's pretty good. So yeah. So shout out to Asian World of Martial Arts of Philadelphia, especially my man Eddie. Love you guys. You guys are really, really cool. Always treated me with love and respect, and every time that I was there, you always treated me like I was part of the family. So I definitely appreciate that. Much love and respect to you guys. Much love and respect. All right, we are on question number 4. We know that you have acted in action film, but would you try your acting chops in comedy, horror, and or drama? Roland of Vero Beach, Florida. Roland, absolutely. Absolutely. I think as an actor, you really want to show your versatility. In life, you don't want to be be known as the one-trick pony, because then that's all you'll be ever be known for, and what you'll be famous for. It's like saying, if you're a cook or a chef, and you have a restaurant, and you're just only known to make one style of cuisine, like let's say just Italian, but you don't do anything else, well, I mean, that's good, but I mean, it kind of puts you in a little bit of a disadvantage, because there's other restaurants and chefs out there that actually do just more than Italian. They have Italian, they may have American, they may have some Asian inspired dishes, you know what I mean? So the more that you're showing your versatility on something in general, then it just shows how much of knowledge and diversity and openness that you have. So for me, like, yes, I've done action films, and I think it's been great, but I wouldn't mind doing comedy. I wouldn't mind doing horror or drama. You know what I mean? It will challenge me as an actor to go into another genre of film. Now I'm not saying that action film is strictly wrong or it's ridiculous. I wouldn't dare say that, because I've been known to do more of that stuff, and it's amazing. And I do believe that when you act in a movie, you do act in a movie, but to be in a different genre, I think everybody wants to see a different side of an actor rather than just one thing. You know what I mean? So, case in point, I've seen Jackie Chan do action comedy movies, but I've also seen him do like serious roles in different types of movies where it's a little bit more dramatic. So imagine that, martial artist, stuntman, Jackie Chan, that's been known to do a lot of like fight scenes and stunts and so forth, have a serious role. Something to think about, guys. Something to think about. Question number 5. Is there a difference in taste between generic versus name brand food/beverage products? Corey Lynn of Knoxville, Tennessee. Well, Corey Lynn, some may say that there's not really much of a difference, that when you eat like from, section A and section B, to them, it tastes the same. and it really doesn't matter. And, I'll give them some validity on that. I think that's true. That's fair to say. But to me, and strictly my opinion, I do believe there's a little bit of a difference. Case in point, like in a beverage department, say that you're comparing soda, like Mountain Dew versus Walmart's Mountain or Mountain Lightning, you can definitely tell that there's a difference because, the Mountain Dew tastes a little bit more bolder, you know what I mean? And it's a little bit more sweeter. Now, the Mountain Lightning from Walmart is not bad, you know what I mean? And it's pretty close, but it's just not the same. Same thing like example, like if you get Kellogg's Corn Flakes versus the Corn Flakes from Walmart, and their generic brand. You can definitely tell the difference, at least in my opinion. I think that the Corn Flakes and Kellogg's Corn Flakes taste exactly like how it is. And the Corn Flakes from Walmart, it's like you got the taste of Corn Flakes, but something's a little bit off. Now, it's not bad per se. It's just, a taste thing. Now, if it's a thing where, you like generic and you want to save money and you feel like you can't even tell the difference and you're okay with that, by all means, that's cool. Go for it. I mean, we're in a time right now where like things are a little bit more expensive now than usual, ever since the pandemic, them prices, jacked up, and the only thing I can say is I'm hoping that, in time things will, go down in the price, in general, because things are becoming a little bit expensive. And I think that in this episode, that's what we've been talking about is like, the HFSTival, jacking up the price of like admission. And now like all of a sudden, food prices are up, gas prices are up. Come on, man, we need a break. So but yeah, Corey Lynn, that's my take on it, and that's what all I got to say about that. Question number 6: what do you prefer more in terms of a cardiovascular workout between swimming laps in a swimming pool, or riding miles on a bicycle? Alan from Olympia, Washington. That is a really, really good question. Both of them are good, and both of them, depending on the situation, it's to your advantage because, if you swim in a swimming pool, you're in water, so your body's going to be cooled down. But each part of your body with your arms and your legs and just like the aerobic part of like a human movement, of body movement, it is very challenging, for sure. Riding a bike, I mean, yes, you are sitting down, but you're pedaling. And you're just like going. Both are great cardiovascular exercises and a good workout routine. And I'm not mad about that. I'm not mad at it at all. But if I was to choose just for me and for me alone, I'd rather do the biking. I'd rather just sit down on a bike, pedal, and just like see everything, that's passing me by and just seeing the sights. While like, riding and, when I ride, I can feel like the air coming in because I'm going in motion. And when I'm going in motion, I'm kind of like I guess it's like, there's a little bit of resistance where like, I'm feeling some air coming in. So yeah, I like to do that. Not to say that I don't like swimming. I love swimming, but it'd rather be like, for me, I'd rather swim as a cool down after riding the bike for a while. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But again, going back to like how I said in question number 2, it's all about, how you really feel, your preference. I mean, if that's, if you like exercise A, you go for exercise A, if you like exercise B more, then you get exercise B. I feel like at this point, you can't go wrong either way because you are developing endurance, physical endurance, and you're also kind of toning your body a little bit, so you're developing it to be a little bit more stronger in ways that, let's say traditional weightlifting does not provide. So there you go. Here's the last question. Question number 7. And wow, this one looks like it's very serious. Kim, if you see a friend that is giving indication of wanting to commit suicide, then what should I do? Samantha from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Samantha, first off, I want to preface by saying that I'm not really an expert in this particular subject. So what I say is basically based on opinion. Now, if you want to take my opinion and follow it, feel free. If you don't, then I would suggest, consulting with a professional. But in my honest opinion, this is a very serious situation because everybody out there in the world somewhere has probably that thought of like wanting to end their own lives. And that's sad because I feel like a lot of people have many things to live for, the fact that they want to go ahead and end it does sadden me, you know what I mean? Because I feel like, your mission in life is not complete yet. Whatever it is that they're going through, just know that the best thing that you possibly can do is to give them all the love and support that, they need. And if it becomes serious, then I would definitely notify the proper authorities, in order for them to kind of, solve this situation, or at least delay them from wanting to do the unthinkable. But that being said, I want to tell everybody that if you are thinking about committing suicide, guys, number one, we're with you and we love you. We think that you should still stick around because you have a lot to live for. No matter what it is that you're going in life, to me, it's not worth trading your own mortality. You know what I mean? You still have a long ways to go. Whatever it is that you're going through, it possibly can't be that bad. I always feel like if you wake up in the morning and you're breathing and you're moving, you're doing something right. But if you need help, I actually talked about this weeks ago with a friend of mine. We were talking about this same subject, and he actually mentioned a couple of numbers, and helplines and so forth. And I actually got the information right here, believe it or not. Excuse me for a second. Let me just look up the stuff here. Okay, here we go. If you have a cell phone and you're thinking about wanting to commit suicide and you feel like you need some help, if you have a cell phone, smartphone device, whether if it's an Android phone or if it's an iPhone, dial the number 988 on your cell phone, and you can go ahead and talk to somebody, and they can kind of guide you through it. Or you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline Hotline at 1-800-273-TALK. Or, once again, translated in numerical characters, 1-800-273-8255. Again, that's a real serious subject, guys, and I don't want people to, end their own lives prematurely. You know what I mean? I'm always a believer that, when it's your time, it's your time, like in the natural sense, like, if it's old age or if it's something else, yeah, I rather prefer it that way rather than you making your own exit in that way. So yeah, wow, that's a real serious question there. Wow, that's a good one. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I don't have any more questions. I think that we did a good job today. I think it was amazing. And I'm just glad to be here in the beta room, here inside the Asian Sensation Studios, making another episode and just having fun with you guys. It's always been a pleasure. It's always been an honor, and I always have a blast. Always have a blast. You guys, if it wasn't for you guys, I don't think I would have a reason to do a podcast. But because you guys, respect what I do, love my content, and support me as a podcaster, and support me in general as just a human being, I appreciate that. You guys definitely give me that motivation, that gumption. And I cannot thank you enough for that. So from the bottom of my heart, I want to thank you guys. And as always, we have to, close it up. Just like Semisonic said, closing time. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. God bless the 90s, man. That was a good time in music. But I think that might be for another episode. Anyways, guys, follow me on Facebook. Just go under the search box and just type in the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience. I'll be there. Just go ahead and follow it, and that would be amazing. We are also on 2 other social media networks. We are on Instagram and on Twitter, now known as X. Follow me both at TKH PC Experience, all in one word. If you follow me, I'll follow you back, no problem. We are on a lot of podcasting platforms. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. We are on Amazon Music, YouTube Music, and the podcasting platform of Audible, which is a website from Amazon that actually gives you access to all the podcasts and online books, basically audiobooks. Now, I don't know the cost of the membership for Audible. So you might have to go to audible.com for more information, but they do have a trial basis membership where you can try it out for like 5 days or something like that. And if you like it, they'll go ahead and charge you. If you don't, you can just cancel the subscription, no questions asked. If you want to go ahead and send us an email, you can do so. Whether if you want to be a guest on our show, if you want to be a special guest host, if you have any constructive criticism, or if you have questions for our Q&A, email us at the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience at gmail.com. Whatever the subject is, just enter it, and then on the body of the email, just write out whatever you need to write out. Email it, I'll read it, and I'll get back to you within 24 to 48 hours because I do like that form of communication. It does mean a lot. Also, real quick, guys, something that I forgot to mention, and I'm going back to our podcasting platforms. Please like and subscribe to our podcast on all the podcasting platforms that I've mentioned. You know what I mean? Because it definitely helps and it definitely shows a lot of love and support. Now, if you have Spotify, give us a 5-star ranking. If you have Apple Podcasts, please give us a 5-star ranking and a positive written review. Because the more times that you do that on Spotify to give us the 5-star rankings, the more times you actually do that on Apple Podcasts to give us the 5-star ranking and give us a positive written review, our podcast actually goes to the front of the line and will get featured. So that way, when somebody else actually sees it, they may go, "Oh my God, that's that podcast that Kathy was talking about." And yeah, she's really giving a lot of raves about it. I think I should go ahead and like and subscribe it. Yes, please do so. You know what I mean? And we're also in the age of technology. So spread the word about it on your social media, whether if it's on Facebook, Twitter, now known as X, if you have Instagram, if you have Snapchat, if you even have, believe it or not, TikTok, put it on TikTok. Let the people know about it. You know what I mean? Sharing is caring. You can also let people know by word of mouth in person. You know what I mean? The old school way. So if you bump into your cousin, you should be like, "Dude, I was listening to the Kim Hoang Podcast Experience, and I think it's the bee's knees, man. It's good stuff." Yes, do it that way. It's what we call in the world and the business today brand awareness. And when you share that information and you share the brand sooner or later, I think people will definitely enjoy it. And what I love about this podcast is that it's accessible to everybody all around the world. You know, it doesn't matter if you're in the United States, if you're in Canada, if you're in, Brazil, South America, or if you're, in Europe, like the Netherlands or the UK or France, wherever we are online, you can access us. You know what I mean? And we're not hard to find. Again, as long as you go to whatever, podcasting platform that you normally listen to your podcast to, and you find us, like us, subscribe to us. It's the best thing going today. But we're out of time, guys. So I do want to thank you for your time. I do want to say that I love you guys, and you guys are amazing. Please be safe out there. Like, seriously, please be safe out there and do the right things, guys, because it doesn't do us any good if you make the wrong choices that makes you result into landing in a pine box and getting buried 6 feet under. We don't want that by any means necessary. We want you to do well. We want you to succeed. We want you to be healthy. We want you to be happy, because at the end of the day, you deserve it. And you don't deserve anybody's negativity or flack. If somebody's saying something mean to you and they're cursing to you and they're making you feel like you're the lowest common denominator on the face of the earth, that's lower than the form of dirt. Number one, you really shouldn't be treated that way. You shouldn't feel that way. And that person that's saying that mean stuff to you, that negative stuff to you, I'm sorry, but they can go to hell and burn in it. You know what I mean? Because you don't deserve that. No way. No way. We have a purpose. We have a long ways to go, but we have a purpose, and, we deserve good things in life, and we deserve to live healthy, happy, and just in the way that we want to. As long as, again, like I always say, if you're not, breaking any John Q laws, or, it doesn't get you in trouble, it's all good in the hood. But that's all I got, guys. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Coming in for the one time here in the beta room inside of the Asian Sensation Studios in the greater Washington DC Metropolitan Area. This is your boy Kim Hoang, the Asian Your Sensation. Once again, your Asian Sensation, not the Asian Sensation. Well, I could be the Asian Sensation, because I feel like I'm really doing it. But that's to be disclosed at another time. But your Asian Sensation and the Asian Sensation, your host with the most, the guy with the, with the master plan. And we're going to do it again real soon. Guys, take care of yourselves. God bless you all. I love you guys so much. Thank you for your love and support. I truly appreciate it. And we're going to do it again real soon. You know what I mean? So for the one time, we are out of here. Love y'all. Be good. Be safe. Peace.